Greetings YouTube, this is Western Kansas Prepper here with my video response to BexarPrepper's question, what will cause HSTF? Now, let me preface this by saying I'm not a long-term subscriber or follower of BexarPrepper. I happened to see her video and it provoked in me that I should make a response. So BexarPrepper, please give your contest prizes to someone who's a long-term subscriber or someone who's been following you loyally. That's totally fair. I'm only posting this video because I thought that I should answer the question for myself, because I think it's something that all preppers probably have thought about and maybe just haven't vocalized as to why they're doing what they're doing. What do they think could happen? So this is my attempt to answer that question, my 3 cents. We're all trying to share information collectively online as preppers, and that's our knowledge base, and we learn from each other, and hopefully this is my contribution to that on this topic. So what do I think will cause HSTF? You're looking at it right here on the screen. It is a black swan. Now, do I literally mean a bird that's going to come and peck all of our eyeballs out? No, I don't. I mean it as an analogy. It's a metaphor. In logic circles or philosophy or mathematics, there are what are known as universal statements, such as all men are mortal. You'd use those in logical methods like a modus ponens, for a Latin term, such as all men are mortal, Socrates is a man, therefore Socrates is mortal. And that's how you learn the certain logical inferences. Used to be there's a logical inference that all swans are white. Used to be something that was taught in logic years ago, that was a universal type of statement. All X is Y. However, at some point they had to revise that because they went down to Australia, and of course, what did they find? They found black swans. Now, they still had probably universals, like, all swans have a long, elongated neck, they have, they come from ducklings, those type of things. But they can no longer say all swans are white. Some outlying event changed the way they were thinking and changed their prior understanding. And that's what I mean, that's the analogy I'm meaning to use in this HSTF description. Now, just as an analogy here, another analogy, as human beings we learn from experience and observation. And what we've observed, we sometimes rely on and expect to see similar things happen. However, sometimes we can reinforce things that may not be true. And let me give you the example. Imagine that you're a turkey in a barnyard. And every day you get up, and every day the farmer comes to the fence and gives you feed. And this happens every day for a year, perhaps. Makes you a very fat and happy turkey. Every day you learn that if you go to the fence, if X, then Y, the farmer will feed you. So, that's what you've learned, and in fact it's been reinforced into you for over a year. So that's what you believe. However, it just takes that one day for the black swan type event to hit you, which is, if you're the turkey, is that the farmer comes up that morning, instead of giving you feed, chops your head off. Now, nothing you had observed or learned in the last year would have prepared you for that moment. You've learned precisely the opposite by observation. Now, that's the kind of thinking that I'm trying to get to here with my HSTF thoughts. So I think it'll be an outlying event, something outside of our realm of experience, that carries an extreme impact, and that we have to make those adjustments if we can at all, but no one had foreseen it. Just think of the housing bubble back in 07 to 09. You had all these people saying, oh, housing prices are great, they're never going to go down, everything's great, nothing's wrong. Then all of a sudden you get this weird phenomenon of these collateralized debt obligations and subprime mortgages and all this, and the whole thing collapses. Then there's always a few idiots at the end that say, "Oh, see, we told you," even if though they were saying exactly the opposite thing, 2 years ago. So, that's the kind of outlying events I'm talking about. But I think we can generalize these into 4 categories, and I've got these laying out here into what I call biological, environmental, economic, and governmental. And I think those all interconnect and interrelate and are likely culprits for an HSTF scenario. I think within those categories we can see various Black Swan type events which we may not have foreseen. Now, starting off with the biological, I think the most obvious there would be some sort of biological event, a viral contamination of some kind that we had not foreseen. There are plenty of movies and TV shows based on this premise. The BBC show Survivors was based on this premise. Some disease that wipes out, most of humanity. And, you can look through the news and you'll see things that, probably raise your eyebrows, such as, this is from, the journal Nature, which is a pretty mainstream scientific publication. Pig Ebola mutation could pose threat to humans. And there's a pig, hopefully he doesn't have Ebola, but anyway. Ebola is a bad thing. It's a nasty thing. You bleed out of every orifice of your body, your organs liquefy. It's not much fun. And at the present time, we have a good handle on Ebola. It's fairly contained because the incubation period's pretty short. You manifest symptoms, very quickly, and then you die within 10 days or so. So you don't have much time to spread the disease. But imagine, for instance, that the incubation period changes. It takes a lot longer for symptoms to present themselves. It goes from being waterborne to being airborne. And I can't remember which Ebola is, but anyway, that's just an example. And that's true for many diseases. We have swine flu, coming up. We had avian flu. We have SARS. We have AIDS. Any one of those things could mutate into a way that was not favorable to humans, and then we may have some serious problems going on. Beyond viral, we also have potentially, this is just another article, again, the Mail. This is from May of last year. We have bacteria being used to power a power plant. They eat waste and pollutants, and they generate electricity through a fairly complicated process I don't have time to get into, of course, in this video. But, it's presumed that these bacteria are not going to do something unexpected and perhaps start believing that humans are the waste that they can consume to produce electricity. Now, I know that sounds outlandish, but again, we're talking about black swans. And these things will sound outlandish. Most black swans will. Again, if you told somebody in, 1630-something that, hey, I bet there are black swans somewhere, they would have told you no, there aren't. The same there, if you tell somebody that these bacteria, maybe we don't need to be doing what we're doing with them, then, they may turn a different direction and may do something unexpected. So those are the biological type of events. Some of those are potentially natural mutations. Some of them are man-made. You got genetically modified crops. Who knows what we're losing in those? I don't know. You could have mass sterility, something like that. Second, we have environmental causes. And I think with environmental causes, I don't mean that I'm a tree-hugging hippie or something, or whatever. I do believe in conservation. I do think that we need to be careful with our resources and not waste things. And I'm not a PETA person. I think that those people give environmentalists a bad name. But I think we need to make smart use of our resources. Alternative energies, those type of things make sense to us. But I don't mean, but by environmental here, I don't mean that kind of thing. I mean more a general environmental things and things around us that could affect us, that would change. And again, some of these would be man-made, some of them would be natural. And I'll start with the man-made. The most obvious is, of course, a radiological event, nuclear, that is. And there are different ways that could happen, of course. Any of them would definitely bring about HSTFs, assuming it were widespread enough. Now, at this point, I think I'm going to break off this video. We'll continue with part 2 of my answer to what will cause HSTF.